We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
So, Carlos, congratulations on the film, and you were at the special screening over the weekend, sat amongst the audience. So what was it like for you, being sat amongst them and hearing and seeing all the reactions?
To be true, this is the first time that I watched the movie with an audience, and it was amazing. It was good. It was a treat to be there with like children and families all there, like watching the movie together. I was very nervous because I've watched the movie like with my colleagues and in you know sessions with like you know people that I know and all that. But this is the first time that the movie was out there to get the reactions, and it was really good. Like I was happy that people enjoyed and got the message and had a great time.
It was a lovely atmosphere, wasn't it?
It was great.
Wasn't it? So how did you first come across the book then?
Well, I was familiar with the character of Ferdinand through the shorts. There was a short that was done in the 30s by Disney, that because I grew up in Brazil and the book was not available in Brazil so at the time. So maybe it was available, but I wasn't aware of it, so it was not that famous. But the short played on TV, so I knew of the character of Ferdinand, the bull that smelled the flowers, you know. So then when I moved to the U.S., and then I realized that that story was originally from a book, and the book was read by many generations, you know, and is still read by the children. And when I had my kids, I was able to read to them, you know, and I knew that all the kids in school read the same book, and the teachers read to them, and their parents read to them. And I felt that it was so powerful, so rich. Even though it was a small book, the message was very big.
Yeah, and as you say, it's a small book, and you've expanded quite a lot on it in the film. So where did you get your inspiration from for the new storylines and the new characters?
It was from Ferdinand. I wanted to continue to tell. I felt that there could be more that I could be told if I put other point of views into other characters interacting with Ferdinand. Sticking to Ferdinand's point of view, of course, the movie is about Ferdinand, so it's all through his eyes. But creating these other characters to support his journey, I think, was the big challenge. And then I was like really trying to figure out like cool ideas just to be able to create like, you know, fun action scenes, good emotional sequences, get like entertainment in all different levels. So I worked with a very big team of artists that we worked on this movie for a long time. So if it wasn't for my writer, you know, and the story artists and the animators and the producers, everybody around it, you will not have the movie that we have. Like we worked really hard to try to get the best out of it.
And you said there that you worked on the movie for a long time, and actually at the screening you said
Yes.
that you've been working on it probably for longer than a lot of the audience have been live.
It's true.
How long has it been in development then?
It's interesting. The other day, I wasn't quite aware when we fully started. Like, and then one day I was looking at an image that you know, we had a drawing from one of the storyboards, and I look at the date was 2011. I was like, wow, if that's 2011, I've probably been working on this movie for more than that. So I think that, you know, production itself was about 4 years. When we have like, you know, green light and you have to get the stuff going. But I think the movie's been in our development team for like, you know, easily over, you know, 7 years.
So thinking of your previous films, I mean, say Rio, for example, I felt there was actually quite a difference in tone with this one. It was a much more thoughtful film. It had more serious issues. Was that part of the appeal for you to make the film in the first place?
Yes. The reason why I was drawn to Ferdinand, I felt I could tell like a fun, you know, I can tell a beautiful message, but not forgetting, of course, the fun and the excitement of it. But it's more about a character issue, because it's an issue that everybody goes through, like being misjudged or being pushed to do something that you don't want to do, and like be true to yourself. Do that with pacifism, do that without violence. It's something that I thought was really important to tell. And it couldn't be jokey, it couldn't be like just funny for the sake of being funny. And so I wanted this movie to feel special. And I think that for me I love the challenge of making movies that are not always the same, you know, it's a little bit different. So in Ferdinand it's different, but in a good way.
And looking at your Ferdinand, I couldn't help but think there was a slight sort of facial resemblance to John Cena. And I wondered which came first, the Ferdinand or the casting of John Cena.
And it was interesting because like the character came first way before John Cena came on board, and usually that's what happens. But the minute that the actor gives their voices and the animator starts to animate, there's something about, you know, the connection of the voice and the face that the character transforms itself and becomes to get mannerisms of like the actor, and it's something that goes like it's not planned, but you after a while I was also seeing John Cena in the character, even though that was not the design that we started with. So it's really incredible how that happened.
And you've worked extensively in animation. Do you think you're ever going to step over the line and go into live action one day?
Well, I always like a challenge, and then I would love to do a live action project. You know, I might do something that's a hybrid that has animation involved, you know, and some live action in it, but I would love to do a live action project. You know, I love the challenge. As long as a good story, good characters, I'm up for it.
Carlos, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.